I have a question for you. Have you ever emailed a proposal to a prospective client, somebody who's requested it from you, only to never hear back from them again? Or maybe you've got a pipeline full of proposals that are out there and you're waiting to hear back from some of these clients who requested them from you, and then you followed through and you sent it to them. But it's like sending them into the abyss and they go dark or they go radio silent. And you wonder, like, what happened? What did I do? What did I say in my proposal? Hi, my name is Joe Soto, and I'm the founder of Revenue Inbound and Marketing Agency Owner.com. And through my agency for the last over a decade now, we've had hundreds of clients from around the world, and I learned a thing or two about sending proposals. And the main lesson I learned was you never send a proposal. You only present them. And I know this is a paradigm shift for a lot of people, and maybe for you watching this, because somewhere along the lines you thought it was just standard best practice to email a proposal when a client asks you for it. After all, they're requesting it. They're asking you for it. Why wouldn't you do it? Well, you're doing it because you're playing on you're playing the game their way, not your way. I'm going to share with you some concepts around this that are going to help you close more sales if you just follow my lead on this. Okay? You have to understand that a proposal is the words that come out of your mouth. It's what you say to someone, not what you send to someone. All right? So there's a couple of ways I handle this when someone asks me for a proposal. I just simply say, we're not really at that phase yet. What I'd like to do is go back, put together some ideas, and I'll come back and present some things to you, and then you can kind of decide what direction you'd want to go on from there. And at that point, if a proposal makes sense, we'll take that route. And that kind of diffused the situation. They say, okay, what I'm really doing is I'm scheduling a follow-up meeting, a proposal meeting to close the sale. And yeah, I'll go back, think about what I need to propose, but that's going to be in my presentation. And some people get that confused. All right, never again ask a piece of paper or a document that you email to close a sale for you, because it just does not happen. Clients do this though to you because they're used to it. There's a pattern behind this. So I have a few notes here that I'd like to share with you. And really it's around the psychology of why a client asks for a proposal. The first reason is because it actually helps them. What do I mean by that? Well, it's a process that keeps the client from being overwhelmed. Okay, so it's like if you put it all in writing, they can just look at it all at once, right? And it becomes a means also for them to keep their distance from you, so you have to be very careful about that. And the reason number two is they want to compare. So this is why you hear the term RFPs. If you haven't heard the term RFP, it stands for Request for Proposal. And sometimes a company, when they're deciding that they want to use outside professional services, outside consulting, or outside agency services, they'll put a feeler out to several agencies, what they call an RFP. And they'll say, we're looking for someone to do, online marketing for us, Facebook advertising. Can you send us an RFP, a request for proposal? To do that, though, is going to put you in a bad spot. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't differentiate yourself through written proposals. It just doesn't work that well, okay? And if we're considered to be oranges in a basket of apples, okay, then you have to resist being pushed into a process that's designed to compare apples to apples. And so you just simply say, before we do that, we'd like to have a preliminary meeting so we can have a short discussion so we can make sure we really nail this RFP process for you. And you go for the appointment anyway, and you present at your appointment. Reason number three that clients do this and request a proposal from you is that they are trying to gain some insight or inspiration, even some ideas, trying to take your information and ideas and then apply it in their business. This is the most common and the most costly sales mistake shared by consultants and agency owners, and that is mistaking somebody else's spoken interest, okay, for actual intent. Very important you learn how to make the distinguishment, or this distinction between when someone is asking you for a proposal versus genuinely interested in intending to do business with you. Another reason why they'll ask you for a proposal is to kind of get rid of you or to stall. Okay? It's a lot easier to answer and to say no via email than it is in person and face to face or through a Zoom meeting or even over the phone. Okay? And so sometimes they just ask you for a proposal to get you off their back or to get rid of you, or to stall. So you have to really feel that out and understand that that's their process for what they're used to telling, how they're used to putting people off. And you don't have to play by that game. So again, when someone says, hey, Joe, can you send us a proposal? I always say, I'd love to, but we're not at that stage yet. What I mean by that is we're still kind of gathering information, and we want to put together some ideas and come back and present a variety of things, directions that we could go in. And then from there, if it makes sense, we'll move forward. But let's figure out if we should even be dating first. And then they always say, okay, because you're breaking their pattern and you're introducing a different process for how you sell versus how they're used to telling people to sell them or to present or pitch or send a proposal. So you don't have to play by their rules. How's that? Here's another reason, it's a deadly one, is that they want to shop for a better price. Okay? So they say, hey, send us a proposal, and then they're going to go to another agency to get a proposal, again, to do the comparison, but they're really using you maybe to get to a better price. So they may say, hey, Joe's agency proposed $5,000 a month retainer. Can you guys beat that? And of course, any agency is going to say, well, sure, we'll go a little lower than that because they want the client. Okay? So keep that in mind. You're not in any obligation to provide the client with anything. And if they're going to have objections or leverage your price for any other reason other than to negotiate with you, then it's a disservice to you. And you don't want to put them in a position where they have an opportunity to do that. So let's jump to the end here. What's the big idea? The big idea is if somebody wants you to do a deep amount of work, which normally people put into a proposal, because like I know you might be watching, you might be one of these people who have spent hours putting together a proposal. Well, if you spend hours putting together a proposal, that's something you should probably be paid for, okay? And you should charge for. I mean, if somebody wants a full diagnostic or they want a full audit, okay, then we have a charge for that. But if somebody wants to see a roadmap of kind of what we can do for them and where we can take them, I'll present that to them. They can tell me, is this something you want to run with? And if so, let's come to an agreement that this is a fair fee for it. Or here's option 1, here's option 2, and here's option 3, and here's our fair fees to take you down any one of these paths. When I present that to them, they either say yes or no to those. If they say yes, I say, great, I'll draw up the agreement, and I'll send it over to you electronically, and we'll get going. And before I end that meeting, I schedule my kickoff call with them. So I already am getting them into the future, having already made the decision to do business with me. Just remember, you're not in the proposal writing business, and your agreement and your proposal is what you propose with your mouth, okay? What you say to someone. It takes a little bit more boldness, takes a little bit more courage, but you'll close a lot more sales, and you'll come across as a trusted advisor, as a professional, not as a typical salesperson who's just kind of crossing their fingers and hoping for a proposal to come back to them.